Hey everyone, welcome to the demo of delving deep into Hadoop. And this is a demo from IQ Online Training. And this course, delving deep into Hadoop, is all about Hadoop, wherein we would be mainly concentrating on technical aspects of Hadoop and the data analytics area. And I would be the trainer for this course. I'm someone who is holding a business degree from Harvard Business School on business analytics, and I'm certified on Hadoop with all the popular Hadoop distributions available in the current day market. And to talk about this, delving deep into Hadoop, this course, this course is a 40 hours course, which would talk about Hadoop and its components. We would be discussing about Hadoop echo components and Hadoop architecture for 40 hours. And this course is a daily, the sessions for this course will be happening on daily basis for 1 hour. Of course, the timings do vary. Including weekends, we'll be having sessions. And the main activities that we would be performing as part of this course would be, apart from learning Hadoop technically for 1 hour, we would be working on different use cases and case studies on daily basis. So one has to invest almost like another 30 to 45 minutes per day to complete the use cases and case study, right? And then we are going to perform some kind of product development as part of this course. We would be splitting the batch into two groups, and wherein each group would be performing part of the use case, and we would be clubbing the technical aspects of both the groups to form the product. That's another activity that we would be performing. So all these activities we are doing as part of this course is mainly to get the complete exposure, the practical exposure on Hadoop. That's the main intention here. That's what we from IQ Online deal with. Of course, I'll walk you through the course contents of this course probably in a short while. But before that, let me talk more about this course. So the main motto of this course is to give, as I told, the practical exposure. And at the end of this course, one has to be very confident about dealing with any Hadoop related activities on their own, for which these use cases and case studies are going to help. And another important thing that we are going to do is we are going to share you with interview questions. Probable interview questions from each topic. At the end of every topic, you are supposed to evaluate yourself on how confident are you if an interviewer asks some questions from that particular list of questions that we shared with you. You have to try yourself to answer every bit of it. If you at all you are not able to answer, you can raise your hand on the session so that you'll get the answer for that particular question that you are unable to answer. Technically and ideally, you are supposed to answer. You should be comfortable in answering every question in that interview question list, right? And second thing is about the quizzes that you have to answer at the end of every topic. Again, the main motto of this quiz is to give you some awareness on how the certification do happen in real time, right? So this is totally about this course. And before I walk you through the course content, right, and the prerequisites of this Hadoop course, let me talk about the definitions of big data and Hadoop. Why they are so popular in the market currently. So big data is a term to denote large data sets. When I say large data sets, the large data sets could be in the range of petabytes, hexabytes, zettabytes, or even more, which are beyond the capability of an traditional RDBMS or legacy systems in the market right now. So when you have big data, you will not be able to store or analyze this big data on top of our DBMS? What could be the reason? Reasons could be many. One straightforward reason is your traditional systems or RDBMS are not designed to handle such huge data, which is called big data. Maybe you can store them by adding extra hard disks, but what do you do after storing? You have to analyze them, right? So your big data, when you are storing them in RDBMS, if at all you are able to store it, you'll not be able to analyze it. The reason is RDBMS will not be capable enough in dealing with the analytics of such huge data. That's the straightforward answer. And what's the alternative then? If a traditional system or a legacy system is not able to handle big data, what could be the alternative? In the current day market, there are a lot of tools available which can deal big data. I would say Hadoop, which is the popular one. You have Cassandra, you have MongoDB, you have Vertica. You have lot many tools available in the current day market. So all these are the tools or the frameworks which would store big data and analyze big data in a better way. And among all these tools that I've listed so far, Hadoop is the popular one. Why? I would say many reasons, because of its cost, because of its performance, because of its architectural capabilities, and many other reasons. But what is Hadoop, first of all, before we talk about its its specialities? What is Hadoop? Hadoop is not a database. It's not a file server. Rather, it's a framework that is developed on top of Java, right? Which allows you to store big data and analyze big data. But how do you store and analyze big data? That's a bigger question. So you store them in a distributed manner and you analyze them in a distributed manner with the help of two primary things. One is a file system which is there with Hadoop, called Hadoop Distributed File System, which in short we call it as HDFS, which stores the data in a distributed manner. And there is a programming model, there was a programming model I should say, which was very popular earlier, called MapReduce. This is the programming model which helps you to analyze the data which is stored in HDFS in a distributed manner. But why was I saying you that it was popular? Because MapReduce now has become obsolete and it is being replaced by a very popular component called Spark. MapReduce is absolutely being replaced by Spark right now in the market, which is very popular right now, right? But we would have to learn MapReduce because there are many popular components of Hadoop which are running on top of MapReduce. One example is it could be Hive, it could be Scoop, it could be Pig, right? So all these are components which are running with MapReduce in the background. So yes, we have to learn MapReduce, though it is becoming obsolete as a programming model. But yes, it is popular with the components which are widely used in the market right now. So that's about Hadoop, and that's about big data. So one has to understand why you have to learn Hadoop is because of the market you have in the current day market. Because you have a lot of data getting piled up from every organization. So you have to have a better tool to store and analyze it. That is where Hadoop is gaining popularity day by day. And yes, Hadoop will be popular and Hadoop will be used widely in the market even after 10 years down the lane. Because that's the requirement, right? You always see the data growing, let it be from e-commerce sites or social networking or from banking or telecom, everywhere the data is growing. So down the lane, the popularity of Hadoop would grow further because of the data growing exponentially. So that's the background of Hadoop and big data and about this course. Now, let me talk about the course contents of this. Walk you through the course contents basically. But before I walk you through the course contents, let me tell you that the three major prerequisites of this course is One is Linux. Second thing is basics of core Java. I'm repeating. One is Linux commands. Another thing is basics of core Java and a moderate level of understanding on Python. These would be the three prerequisites I would prefer for this course. But if you are a newbie, need not bother. At the first day of this every course, right? I mean, we would be sharing you the tutorials that are prepared by myself personally, the practical tutorials of Linux, core Java, and Python. We would be sharing with you all these three tutorials on the day one, and starting from day two till probably 50% of the course, we would be working on the use cases or the case studies on three technologies along with Hadoop, right? That makes a person who is a newbie to all this, any of these prerequisites, would be comfortable. At least I would say, if you are not a perfect, you may not be an expert, at least we can bring you to a level of proficiency on all the prerequisites, right? That's about the prerequisites part. And coming to this, the course contents, right? We will start with Hadoop 1.0 architecture, followed by 2.0 architecture discussion, right? And let me tell you straightforward, this course doesn't give you too much of theoretical details. If you are someone who would like to go more architectural wise, we would be sharing the PDFs so that you can go through. This course covers you, at least I would walk you through the architectural aspects to an extent what is required, because we would have to more concentrate on the practical aspects. So I would cover all the 1.4 and 2.0 architecture as quickly as possible. And then we would be doing a cluster installation, a pseudo mode cluster installation, a single node cluster installation, I should say. But this is not an admin course, right? This is a developer and analyst course. Why are we installing Hadoop here? The reason why we are installing Hadoop cluster here is because we are discussing architectural aspects. To correlate them practically, this cluster installation would help you out. We would do it in the course, in the session, and there will be a tutorial, there will be a PDF for you to refer so that you can do the cluster installation on your own, and you'll also be able to correlate the theoretical aspects that we have discussed in the architecture. And then we would be discussing about HDFS command, the commands that you have to use on daily basis with respect to your day-to-day activities that you perform on top of Hadoop. So these commands are closer to Unix commands or Linux commands. That's why I would call Linux or Unix commands as the major prerequisite for Hadoop, right? And then we would concentrate on MapReduce using Java. So when we learn about MapReduce, it's not just about mapper or reducer. We are rather going to concentrate on different phases of MapReduce like spilling, shuffling, sorting, combiner, partitioner, and many other stuff, right? And then we are going to talk about the Hadoop echo components. Our discussion would start, the most interesting part of the course would start from here. We would start with a component called Hive, a data warehouse on top of Hadoop, which is very popular, very heavily used in the current day market. And then we would start with Pig. Pig is a data flow language, which has its own Latin called Pig Latin, which is used to transform the data, which is used to generate the reports, right? And this is another echo component. But Hive is something that we would deal with every corner technically. Pig is something that is becoming obsolete because of the evolution of Spark. So, this course always concentrates on something which is very popular, which is heavily weighted in the market. It goes with the market, this course is all about. And then a very easy component called Scoop, which is SQL import exportability that we would be discussing, right? Of course, we would discuss every aspect of Scoop as well. And then we are going to discuss about something called HBase. HBase is a NoSQL database. And when we discuss about this, we are also going to discuss about the architecture of Cassandra, because to a certain extent, HBase and Cassandra architecture are similar. So we would be talking about Cassandra architecture as well when we are discussing about HBase. And then we will talk about another data ingestion component called Flume. Scoop is for another data ingestion component, like I told, SQL import export utility to bring the data from RDBMS to Hadoop. If not RDBMS, maybe a social networking site like Twitter, or from a messaging broker like Kafka. So anything apart from RDBMS, if you have to ingest the data into Hadoop, that's where Flume will be used. So Flume is another eco component that we will be discussing. And then comes Spark. Yeah, very most popular component in the current day market, and even the course talks a very detailed. I mean, we'll have a very detailed discussion about Spark, right? And which is an component that is based out of architecture called RDD, Resilient Distributed Data Set. And then we'll talk about a messaging broker called Kafka. Kafka is a messaging broker, right? And that we will be discussing. So all these aspects are something we would be discussing. When it comes to Spark, right, we would be discussing about Spark SQL, Spark streaming, Spark core application building. So we will discuss about all the technical aspects of Spark, right? So these are the course contents that we would be covering as part of this course for 40 hours, right? And you could see here at the end of every section, you'll have a case study and you'll have a quiz to answer, which is listed here, right? So that's something that you have to work on daily basis, right? Apart from this case studies or use cases, you will be having some different products to develop as well, which should make you proficient with any aspect of Hadoop technically. Like I told, this course is more about developer role and analyst role. I mean, I would say 80% we would be working on developer and analyst role. Maybe 10 to 15% or 20% we would be talking about admins. But this course is typically about developer and analyst. I hope you have enjoyed this video. That's all I have from this for this demo. Looking forward for your registration for the actual course. Thank you so much, and bye bye.